If you're a parent, you know what a hard job it is to raise your children. Well, if you're a step-parent, you know that trying to raise children who aren't your own is even more difficult. I'm Barbara De Angelis, and coming up on my new show, we'll be talking about spouses who are overly permissive with their kids and how they can turn their new husband or wife into a wicked step-parent. And we'll give you some solutions to help create harmony in a blended family. It is possible. Next. Association of America, 1 out of every 5 children under 18 is a stepchild. Isn't that amazing? For instance, a man marries a woman, she has kids from her former marriage, or a woman falls in love with a man, he's divorced, and his kids come and spend time on the weekends. For millions of people like these, starting a new relationship doesn't just mean learning to get along with your new partner, but figuring out how to relate to kids who aren't your own. Now, many times the problems in step-families are they're blamed on the kids. The kids don't accept the new father or the new mother, and they make her or his life miserable. But today we're going to look at a hidden problem in step-families, and that is a step-parent who doesn't feel supported by the new spouse in front of the kids and is set up to look like the wicked step-parent. Now, joining us today are 2 people who are both in step relationships and both suffering from what we're calling the evil step-parent syndrome. Thank you both so much for coming. This is Dave Woody over here who's joining us, and Peggy Sanders. Does this sound familiar to you, Peggy? We're talking about a spouse who's not supportive.
Oh, yes. I find that with my husband, when it comes time to discipline his son, instead of siding with me, he turns around and he defends his son, and it makes me feel like the wicked stepmother.
How long have you been remarried?
We've been married for 6 months. It's my first marriage and his second.
Okay. And how is one son?
5-year-old boy.
Okay. And he lives with you or comes and visits?
He comes and visits
okay.
every other weekend.
Every other weekend. Okay. So a typical scenario that happens.
Well, one good example is one time he told his son to keep his little toy cars in his bedroom, and he brought them out into the living room a little bit later. And I told my stepson that he needed to put them back in the bedroom because he was scattering them around the house. Well, he said that his dad said that it was okay. So then I went to talk to my husband about it, and my stepson followed behind me, and my husband started defending my stepson, and my stepson just sat there and glared at me.
I'm sure he enjoyed the entire thing. So in other words, your husband said, you're not allowed to have your cars in the room. And then you said, you're not allowed to have your cars, and when he did it wrong, your husband said, well, it's not that bad, and it's okay that he does that.
Yeah.
Okay. Does this happen a lot?
Yeah, it's happened repeatedly.
What does your husband say when he's here? We're going to talk to him later. What does he say when you say to him, you know, why aren't you defending me? I'm looking like a wicked stepmom.
Well, he tries to put it so it's not so bad. You know, the son isn't doing anything bad, and he wants to have quality time with this son because he only sees him every other weekend.
And he doesn't want to be yelling at him or disciplining him. But that ends up making you feel what?
It makes me feel really horrible. It makes me feel like the wicked stepmother. It makes me feel like it's me against them.
Yeah. Does this sound familiar? Now, we hear about wicked stepmothers and stories and movies and everything, right, everybody? But wicked stepdads, that's a different kind of situation. And a lot of times these days, men will marry a woman who has children from a former marriage, and they're usually living in the home. That's a little bit different, isn't it?
Glenda's daughter's 12, and she lives with us. And then I had a son who's 4, and he lives with us also.
Okay.
So we have everything blended in.
Okay. So what's the situation in your family? There's this 12-year-old girl who has another dad somewhere.
Right.
And suddenly, there you are in the house.
Right.
Okay. What goes on?
Well, she's kind of, it's been just her and her mom for about 7 years. And so she got used to just it being her and her mom. And now that I'm there, and also my son, it's cut out a lot of the time, the quality time she used to have with her mother. She really resents that, and I get blamed for a lot of it. I get the grunt of a lot of that. And her mother and I have worked out certain punishments and disciplines for how to handle certain things. And we do that all right. The problem is that after after I've laid down a punishment, her mother comes back and says, well, just, don't worry about it so much, If she ends up getting like a 2-week restriction after a few days, her mom will just kind of like, well, that's enough, just go ahead and do whatever you want to do.
Right, now, if I had your 12-year-old stepdaughter here, and I asked her what she thinks about her stepdad and discipline, what would she say? Would she say you're the heavy and you're mean and you're on her case all the time, right? And you're always trying to punish her?
And everything would be wonderful if I just let her do whatever she wanted to do.
I see. Like Mom does at this point.
Like Mom does,
right,
yeah.
Right,
yeah. Like it's always been before I came along.
Okay.
Yeah.
And same thing with you. You're the heavy one. You're the mean one.
Absolutely.
You're not, right. And that feels terrible because you want to be accepted by these kids, yet you're not getting that support of your partner. And it's a tough thing because when you see your kids just on the weekends, you don't want to look like you're being heavy on them. And yet, your spouse is not feeling supported, and that's a problem. Now, how many times a week would you say, between the two of you, you end up having an argument about this, or a discussion, or a comment, or something like that?
How many times a week or a day?
How many times a week or a day? So it's a lot. And aside from that, I mean, in your case, Dave, the marriage is going great, everything else, but has this issue come up again and again and again?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's, I mean, in anything where you have stepchildren, step-parents, a blended type family, I mean, that's the main thing. It's never really if the marriage can make it or not, if everybody's got to get along.
Right.
It's not just if mom and dad can get along. If there's kids involved, everybody has to.
So
Or
it's like
everybody
having
feels the
4
pressure.
relationships, not just 2 relationships.
Right.
All right. Now, you brought your wife with you today.
Yeah.
Right? She's listening to all this. I know she hasn't said anything yet. I'm sure she was. Glenda, where are you? Hi. All right. We are going to hear your side of the story afterwards, I promise you, when we come back, because there is another side of the story. So come back. We're going to be talking to her, and we're going to take some questions from our audience right after this. About how we sometimes turn our partners into wicked step-parents. Now, we're in the audience again. We've taken Dave and Peggy, reunited them with their spouses, if they're still talking. And we are here with Glenda. Dave's next to her. We're going to get to you in a minute. Okay, he's sitting up here, and he's talking about the fact that he's the stepdad. And you and, was it your daughter?
Right.
Have been very close, because it was kind of the two of you against the world for a while.
Right.
And now there's this guy in the house. And he's saying that you're real lenient with her, you're very protective of her, and it's making him look like this awful, mean stepdad.
He usually is.
Usually is mean, or he's wicked, or what?
Well, I mean, he's a very strict disciplinarian, and
Like, what's an example of strict? See, because some people think strict is saying, eat with utensils, So what is strict? What do you think that he's doing that's too strict that you think is not fair to your daughter?
Well, I think that I would be more lenient in the number of warnings before punishment was inflicted. She stays grounded a lot, and I will have to say though that he is right, but his form of discipline takes a lot more energy than I've ever had. I mean, I'd rather spend my time giving my child love than always, finding what she's doing wrong and putting so much pressure on her to change that.
But what about the fact that maybe, I'm taking your side here for a second, maybe the reason it's taking so much energy and he's being kind of extra heavy is because you're being extra light. See, what we tend to do in relationships is polarize. One partner is being, well, it's not that bad, and the other partner says, no, it's terrible, and then you're saying it shouldn't be anything at all, and he's screaming and yelling. Do you think that happens a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. All right. So your daughter is feeling like he's being unfair. And you're saying the truth is most of the time he's right.
Right.
It's just maybe the way he's doing it.
And the other thing, too, is that, she's 12, and a lot of the time she pushes him just so she can see that struggle between the two of us.
Yeah, and that's from having a stepdad, having somebody who's now interfering with her relationship with you. See, she had you all to herself, right? And now you're with him, you're caring about him, you're spending less time with her.
Right.
And she's going to push him, and she's going to test him. If she sees that when she tests him, you take her side, what's the message that she's getting?
That he shouldn't be respected.
That he shouldn't be respected, and then he's an outsider in the family. Okay, you can stand up now. He's done. All right. Do you feel like she respects you, the daughter?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, but not
Sometimes.
enough. Not enough.
Yeah, when she's happy, she does, but when she's mad, no.
Okay, all right.
So.
You both need something from each other. This is what I'm hearing. He needs to be shown that you are a team. And that's the thing that happens in step families that is important. When you don't show that you are united in a team to the person, the daughter, the son, whoever it is, then they feel like they still kind of have that parent to themselves, and there's a wedge between you. So we're going to give you some suggestions a little bit later about how to create some teamwork in that family together, okay? All right, I told you we'd get both sides in here. All right. Does this sound familiar to some of you? We're talking about one parent who was too lenient. Now, one of the other things that happens is that sometimes we end up spoiling a child because it is a weekend visitation situation. Anyone ever been in a situation with somebody who you're dating or you're in a relationship with and you feel like they are spoiling? You're like ready to jump up here, yes?
Well,
Go ahead, stand up.
This is Disneyland Daddy.
Disneyland Daddy? I think you better stand up, Disneyland Dad.
When his two daughters come over, and they're teenagers now, so they're older, and they used to come over every weekend. Now they're coming over less frequently. So because they're coming over less frequently, I feel, he's like, he wants everything to be wonderful for them.
Because that's the only 2 days he sees them for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
So if something goes wrong or if they talk back, you don't want to make a big deal about it because you don't want to ruin the event.
Right.
All right. What's the problem with that? What do you think the problem is with that?
I get no respect for it, and I've gotten to where that now, with disciplining his kids, I don't discipline his kids. I say, Dennis, make your daughters pick up their socks, or Dennis, would you do,
So now you're nagging him and not the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And treating him like a kid. All right. Okay, here's the problem for you, Disneyland Dad, that's your new name, and for anybody else about spoiling your kids or not disciplining your kids on weekends or special holidays. The message the kids get is, I am exempt from rules, right? I am exempt from any kind of discipline because it's a special occasion, and I can get away with murder. And the problem with that is you think that they're going to love you more. You think they're going to say, I love visiting my dad because I get to do anything I want. But they laugh behind your back. They know they can get away with stuff. They know that you're a pushover. You know that, don't you? You know that you're a pushover. And they also don't learn what's real in life, which is that there are rules. You have to obey them. You can't always have what you want. And life isn't always Disneyland. You have to blend into a family. So for anyone who has weekends with your kids, sit down and let them know when they visit your house, even if it's for 2 days, there are certain rules in the family that you need to go through. It's very, very important. Anyone else from the audience relating to some of these things that has an issue you want some help with? Yes? Hi.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Is this on? Does it sound, am I on? Yeah, okay. Can really relate to everybody and what's going on in this room. And my biggest problem I have is disciplining my stepson. And it gets to the point where I have to actually get so angry and I have to actually just grab his arm till he listens to me. And I don't like to get to that point. And then I have to ask my husband to take over the situation because he's not listening to me. So I lose control.
So in other words, he will listen only to his, is this him right here?
This is my husband here.
Okay. He will only listen to his father, but not to you.
Right.
All right. So you yell, he does nothing, and then what? You intervene and come in?
And then he usually does exactly, what we want him to do.
All right. This is what you need to do in your situation, and this goes back a little bit to Dave and Glenda, and that is your son needs to see that the two of you are aligned, that the rules are the rules, and if you hear somewhere in the house the fact that there's something going on, you immediately have to say, what she says is what I say. We're one voice, we're one heart, we're one family. You sit down and you let him know the new rules in the house are, we are together, here's what you can do, here's what you can't do, and if she says it or I says it, same thing, same punishment, same amount of time, same warning times and everything else. And once he sees that that is what the law is, he'll get it. But he needs to see you back her up. He needs that, and I think you need it too, don't you? Oh, it would feel good. I know it would feel good. And it's hard, but working together makes the difference. It really does. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to a woman who wants to call off her wedding because of the children that she may be getting in the bargain when she marries a man. So don't go away. You would think twice about marrying someone, you meet someone, you're really in love with them, but you're having a real hard time accepting their children. Ladies, would you think twice about marrying somebody with kids you didn't like? Who would think twice about this? The men aren't very happy about this response. All right, where is Kathy? Because she's in the situation. Could you stand up? Tell us about this.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, I am engaged to probably the most wonderful man in the world. He is just... He's kind, he's good, we have a wonderful relationship, and I fell in love with him, but I did not fall in love with his children. And I have to tell you that they're pretty good kids. They mind pretty well, but we have them out for the summertime, and consequently, I'm a writer, so I spend most of my day at home, and he works very long hours, and so he's not at home. Well, when they're here, I feel like I am responsible, and so I now have the responsibility of reprimanding them, and I am thrown in this parental role that I am not used to, and I don't know how to handle it. It's caused major problems with us. I feel like he is not...
What do you want from him that he's not giving you? So you have two choices. You can call off the wedding to this wonderful man who's the greatest guy in the world, and I'm sure somebody else in the audience will probably take him. Or you can really ask yourself, what do I want from my fiancé that I'm not getting?
Well, I want him to be a little more responsible when it comes to reprimanding them and showing them discipline.
All right, but if he's not there, how can he do that?
Well, I think when he gets home, you know, it's something that we need to talk about. I find that when I tell him about it, he'll set him down, and instead of saying, you shouldn't have done this, or you don't do that, he'll kind of mamby-pamby around.
Right.
And say,
We've all heard the
maybe.
mamby-pamby story already. Well, kids, all right. Here's a suggestion for you, because you do want to get married. Do you have the wedding planned?
No, not yet. I keep putting it off until I can work out a solution.
Well, you came to the right day, the right show. All right. Here's what you need to do together. Before the kids come, you two sit down. You make the rules for the 2 months. You make the guidelines. And then when the kids come, welcome them. We're so glad you're here. You sit the kids down. Here's the things we're going to do this summer. And here are some things that can help us all. This. These are the rules. This is the way things are. And one of us, or both of us, is going to be instituting these rules. You, again, teamwork. You show the kids that you are a team, so that when they do something wrong and he comes home and it's on the list, he says, that was number 3. Doesn't work. Now, is this him here? Yes. All right. Are you willing to do this? The summer's what, 4 or 5 months away now? Are you willing to sit down before this happens? In fact, you should sit down even tonight. Mm-hmm. Make the guidelines so that you can really go ahead with your marriage plans and have everything work out great.
Well, I'm going to work on it.
All right. That's what I want to hear. Thank you. Now, I know. Yes, you can give him a hand. We have some people here who are in step families, but have gone through these problems and found some solutions. And so we want to have them give you some support. Where's our couple who, where are you guys? Who are a success story couple? Are you up here? Oh, hi. Yeah, could you stand up, please? Yeah, can you give them a mic? You've been through this, haven't you?
Yeah. Fortunately, when I was going through it, though, my stepchildren were young, or they still are young, 6 and 7. And so they were in a stage where they would listen and still have understanding, and they weren't so old where their mind was already made up.
What have you found that worked for the two of you?
Well, we both had to sign a pact with each other. We did a lot of talking in the room, one-on-one, made decisions and stuck to them, and then we took them to our kids and told them about it, and told them what we want, what we expect.
And it works?
And it does. If you got to stick with it, though. That's a major thing. You got to stick with what you set, your guidelines. If you don't, well, then they're going to know, you're not serious.
They're going to know they can get away with murder, because that's the way kids are. That's the whole point for all of us. We're going to come back and talk to Ken and Peggy again and give some solutions to all of our step family couples, so don't go away. You guys feel like you're not so alone now after hearing everybody else?
Really do. And I am a Disneyland dad all the way, and I've gotten a lot out of this show. And I'm going to go home with Peggy and talk about, this situation that we have with my son. I think it's really going to do us a lot of good.
Are you relieved?
Yes.
I know, I can
Very
tell.
much.
All right, and the two of you, you've been sitting here listening, you feel a little better, have some ideas and guidelines. You can go home, talk about it, make some agreements, talk to your daughter.
Write it down.
All right, he promised he's going to write it down. There is no family challenge that can't be met with enough love. But remember, love is not enough. You need teamwork. I'm Barbara De Angelis. Thanks so much for starting your day with me. I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope you join me then.
A promotional fee and audience gifts provided by Washington Forge Mardi Gras Flatware Service for 12. Light and bright adds colorful cheer to any table setting. Contemporary colors, dishwasher safe from Washington Forge. Waverly wall coverings to beautify and customize your home. Choose from My Favorite Things collection from Waverly.